This review will be part of a video series I'm starting called the Overlooked Movies Archive, where I will be talking about films that I think are excellent but were missed out on by mainstream audiences. All of these will contain heavy spoilers, so be warned. A recent trend I've noticed in the film industry is that people are giving out way more recognition than usual to female directors. People like Ava DuVernay, Kathryn Bigelow, Patty Jenkins, and Greta Gerwig were all ones who have recently made headlines. I'm going to highlight one that I believe gets overlooked time and time again, Lynne Ramsay. I'm going to do that by looking at her 2012 film, We Need to Talk About Kevin. Ramsay is coming out with another film called You Were Never Really Here, starring Joaquin Phoenix, and it looks badass. I'm very excited to see that one, and hopefully it gains a little more attention than We Need to Talk About Kevin did, because I consider it to be one of the best films in the 2010s that most people haven't seen. The film made about $10 million at the box office, with a budget of $7 million. Hardly exciting numbers, but if we based everything off box office numbers, that would mean that the Minion movie is the 15th best movie of all time, and it's just not. The film was based on a novel of the same name. I personally haven't read it, but it probably doesn't matter because book-to-movie adaptations are usually not that accurate. I'm looking at you, World War Z. Anyway, the cast and the crew in several interviews talked about how hard it was to find funding for the film, and it even needed to be rewrote in order to make it fit a tighter budget, making it somewhat of a miracle that this was even made. Tilda Swinton plays Eva Kashadorian, a mother who is married to John C. Reilly's character, Franklin, and together they have two children, Kevin and Celia. This film takes a microscopic view on the struggles of parenting and isolation. Of course, as the title suggests, most of the conflict comes through Kevin, who is played by several actors. The most noticeable is Ezra Miller, who wipes the screen as him. Tilda Swinton also gives one of her best performances I've seen, and these two do a really good job playing off each other throughout the film. Everything after this point in the video will once again be spoilers, so of course after this you cannot blame me for anything since you had a clear and final warning. Kevin shoots up a school. Hey, you were warned. The film never gives any clear answer on why Kevin did what he did, but a closer look into his behavior gives us clues on figuring this out. It's clear that Kevin wants attention like everyone else, and the kind of attention he craves can be summarized in a clip by Kevin himself.
It's like this. You wake up and you watch TV. Get in your car and you listen to the radio. And you go to your little job or your little school, but you're not going to hear about that on the 6 o'clock news. Why? Because nothing is really happening. I mean, it's got so bad that half the time the people on TV, inside the TV, they're watching TV.
Kevin has a big problem with social interactions, and it's that they feel scripted to him. What he means by nothing is really happening is that nothing of value is going on in the mundane actions of everyday life, and so he craves something that feels organic. For the most part, he doesn't receive this except through his mother, Eva. Even his own dad is unable to provide this for him because he plays a stereotype for almost the whole film. Instead of facing Kevin's actions head on, he chooses to make excuses for him and tries to be his friend. It appears through the film that Kevin plays along with his dad and even enjoys doing so, although by the end of the film it's pretty clear that he may have grown a little tired of it. Kevin's younger sister Celia also appears indifferent for the most part to Kevin's actions and also tries to be his friend despite his everyday bullying of her. For those who have seen the film, we know how well that works out for her in the end. Eva, on the other hand, is not nearly as friendly, insulting Kevin and even going as far as breaking his arm as a child. Funnily enough, even though Kevin is very crass to say the least in these moments, he seems to be more honest, and we get tons more character development out of these scenes than we do when Kevin is with his father. Eva, on the other hand, does offer a much more organic relationship to Kevin, because she is short-tempered and barely has patience to tolerate Kevin's behavior. This is apparent in the scene where he calls breaking his arm the most honest thing she ever did, and after the incident covering up for her and using the toilet on his own for the first time. However, when she does try to play the traditional mother role, Kevin tears into her for it. This is played out in the scene where she goes to dinner with him and starts a conversation that Kevin interrupts with this little zinger.
Bands am I listening to these days, right? Next, you can wheedle about whether there isn't some cute little cunt in the front row who's got me itchy. That way you can segue into how it's all up to me, of course, but before bawling the chick in the hallway, I might decide to wait until I'm ready. Right around dessert, you can ask about drugs. Real careful, like, because you don't want to scare me into, like, lying my head off. So you have to say how you've experimented. Then finally, once you've sucked up that entire bottle of wine, you can go all gooey-eyed and say how nice it is to spend quality time together. You can scooch over and put your arm around my shoulder and give it a little squeeze.
The events following Kevin's horrific act throw Eva into a deep state of depression. She stays up at night reminiscing about her dead husband and daughter and allows the victims of the tragedy to abuse her with little resistance. She feels as though Kevin's actions were all her fault, and the survivors that do try reaching out to her in a positive way she has a hard time connecting with because in her head she was the one who harmed them. Her memories through the film can be seen as wondering how she missed the signs or what she could have done differently in these flashbacks. The film doesn't provide any answer to these questions, mainly because Eva cannot find any. She is just as lost as we are on how one can prevent such an event from happening when you have a son like Kevin, who is very smart but has such a negative and nihilistic view of the world around him. Only through forgiveness can these two characters make amends, but it starts with Kevin, and we do see how he was able to ask for it after being in prison for 2 years. He finally realizes that he did have people who cared about him. Despite his previous thinking, prison gave him a look into a world where absolutely nobody cares about him, and he knows that now because his mother is the only person in his life who might give him a second chance. Eva is willing to accept his apology because she finally sees a chance to feel free from guilt again, and she sees a light at the end of the tunnel for Kevin when she didn't before. In an extremely cathartic moment, we see her embrace him for the first time in the entire film, and the audience knows that there is still a hope that these two can live a normal life once again.
You don't look happy.
Have I ever?
I hope you rot in hell, you fucking bitch!
I'm almost 18, aren't I?
No, I'm fine.
Just because you're used to something doesn't mean you like it. You're used to me.
You know what day it is today?
Sure. It's my anniversary.
There is no point. That's the point.
I want you to tell me why.
I used to think I knew. Now I'm not so sure.
Once again, thank you so much for watching. We're now 4 videos in and I have to say I'm having fun doing this. I wasn't sure about this at first, but I really like where we're going with this channel. This was a more intense video, but don't worry, I won't always be doing that. If you like this, smash that like button, and if not, smash that dislike button. Subscribe to keep updated. The next film I'm going to break down will be 2017's excellent film, Brigsby Bear. Peace.